the Watchful Citizen. I'm your host for today's show. My name is Josh Kramer, and this program is brought to you by the Lancaster County Democrats Public Relations Committee. You can check us out online at www.lancastercountydemocrats.org. Today we have with us Mr. Adam Hintz. He's a small business owner here in Lincoln, Nebraska, and he's the co-owner of Meadowlark Coffee and Espresso. So Adam, thanks a lot for spending some time with us.
Thanks, Josh.
I thought we would just bring him on and kind of see what things are like being a small business owner, hear a little bit more about your business, and then maybe some other issues that you might want to talk about. So why don't you start out, Adam, by just kind of telling our viewers a little bit about who you are, how you got here, and...
Okay. I was born here in Lincoln at Lincoln General. Grew up on West B Street until I was about 7. Then my folks decided to move out to an acreage out by Hickman, Nebraska, by Wagon Train Lake, and then I went to Norris Elementary, Middle, and High School. So I kind of started my life in Lincoln, kind of came of age out in the country, and then came back here to Lincoln after I went to Minnesota for college for guitar repair school, and then I've just been living in Lincoln, worked at the coffee house downtown, and then that kind of inspired me to start Meadowlark Coffee and Espresso on South Street.
I see. So you kind of had the opportunity to watch Lincoln as it's grown, over the past few years. What do you think of the city? I mean, how are things going?
Well, I think, there's always room for improvement, but I really think that Lincoln is an up-and-coming city. I think we all kind of know that Lincoln has a lot of potential, and I think what we need to do as citizens is really just kind of bring Lincoln to its fullest potential, with the cities that I find inspiring, like Lawrence, or maybe even like Minneapolis, St. Paul, Ames, kind of cities that have a very diverse kind of feel to it. I think Lincoln has that potential being a college town, and I think there's lots of room to grow still, and I'm more than willing to help with that growth.
Well, as a small business owner, like you said, you're a part of that. We hear a lot of things in the newspaper, on the radio, about how Lincoln economic development isn't going so good, or it's not going the way people want it to. And I'm talking about in terms of being friendly to businesses. Can you talk a little bit about how that affects you or how you respond to that?
Well, I've had an incredibly positive experience being a business owner. The only real negatives are maybe sometimes more selfish interests come into a line where it's where I'm challenged to kind of step up and just kind of do exactly what I should be doing, which is taking care of my customers, giving them a good product. But on the most part, my experience as a business owner has been really positive. I mean, the neighborhood I'm in, the Near South neighborhood, which I'm on the south edge of, and then the Irvingdale neighborhood, which I'm on the northern edge of, they've all really helped Meadowlark grow into a great coffee shop, and having Open Harvest next door. It's really kind of developing into a great community on South Street, and I haven't really come into any problems as a business owner, really at all, really. Not that I can think of at the moment, anyway.
Well, you said you were inspired to open up a coffee shop. Mm-hmm. What inspired you about the coffee shop idea?
Well, the first thing that inspired me just to open a business was a book called Beyond Civilization by Daniel Quinn. And in that book, he talks about what he calls a tribal business. Now, I think the word tribal usually denotes kind of like a chaotic, almost like, Afghanistan was a tribal country, or like, the Iraqi insurgency are from tribal, kind of warlords. But in Beyond Civilization by Daniel Quinn, he talks about tribalism as like an egalitarian society, where people are, they make a living together as equals. And so I thought, man, it'd be a great idea to start a business. And at the time, I didn't know if it was a coffee shop or not. To start a business with that kind of mindset, where my coworkers are equals to me. Even though I own the business, there's no reason why I should feel superior to them or disrespect them in any way, even economically, socially, in all avenues. And so at that moment, when I read that book, I was in Minnesota doing guitar repair. So in my mind at that time, I was like, well, I'll start a guitar repair business and run it that way. Then I came back to Lincoln with still holding these ideas in my head, and I got a job at the coffee house. And I like working at the coffee house was just such a great experience. I got to know people, got to talk to people. I just really became part of a community there that felt so good and healthy, like a family. I then left the coffee house my daughter was born, so I needed a little bit more money and some other circumstances, so I got another job and raised my daughter. And then once I felt like it was time to leave there and that there was an opportunity, Nate actually was my opportunity. He said, hey, let's open a coffee shop. I was like, yeah, let's definitely do it. So we borrowed some money from our parents, and we started Meadowlark up. And doing the egalitarian kind of organization has been a real delight. I feel that I get more respect by earning it than just demanding it. So,
what role do you think Meadowlark plays in our community? I mean, how have you translated those egalitarian ideals onto the products you serve and the customers who go there?
Well, one of the closest things I think right now that we're doing to kind of create a level playing field is our fair trade coffee and teas that we sell. What fair trade does is it guarantees a living wage to the farmers that are making that are growing the crop. So the coffee growers get a living wage. They also, I believe, are guaranteed education for their children, health care, all kinds of things that a lot of other organizations or source products like some banana, like instead of like at a banana plantation, there's fair trade bananas, and the people that grow bananas, instead of getting paid very poorly for their bananas, are paid for a living wage. And the same with coffee, same with the teas. I think they also do the chocolate. We don't sell the chocolates or the bananas, obviously, but the coffees and teas we do sell. And so that kind of levels it more. I don't think fair trade is the perfect answer, but it's bringing an economic egalitarian kind of idea where it brings things closer to being equal. We're making a living wage; they should too. Also, I think just on South Street, Open Harvest and us, we have a very equal, kind of a relationship, like a neighbor kind of situation where you don't think too poorly about your neighbor. I mean, we couldn't think better of Open Harvest, and we respect each other highly. And I'm also part of the South Street Business and Civic Association, where we all work together. And I think, just working together and making those personal relationships and getting to know people on a personal level, even an emotional level, really helps to keep business in your heart, not just in your mind or in your pocketbook.
Now, when you talk about the free trade coffees and the teas, how much do your customers know? I mean, is there information available for people, or do you feel that people come in for that reason, or?
Well, I think actually we could probably do more, and Meadowlark could do more as far as promoting the